one of my great fears of this era, Seth, is that we're going to replay the French Revolution and not the American Revolution. It's one of my great fears. And
why don't you explain what that means for our audience?
Before the American Revolution, we had, for better or for worse, renaissances, enlightenments. So the deeper existential cosmic questions, philosophical foundations of existence were being pondered. We, of course, have the most defining moment of the last millennia, the Protestant Reformation. We have Bibles being printed into every native tongue all over the world. Missionaries going to even places the early apostolic era did not go, all over the world. We have a group of people called the Puritans who come here for the advancement of the Christian religion with their, and so all of that deep thought, and then that's followed by awakenings, spiritual awakenings, revival. And that then lends itself to many of the civic creeds that you see pontificated and perpetuated in the founding of the country have their basis in these sorts of Christian, neo-Christian philosophical debates of the post-Reformation era. How do sinners govern themselves? They wrestled with all of these tensions for not just our founders, but really the people that were formative in Western thought wrestled with these things for literal centuries, before there was a shot fired at Lexington and Concord. What you have at the French Revolution is frankly just a lot of ticked off people. And that's vox populi and power to the people. And they storm the Bastille and they go to war against the aristocracy. And then after they're done with the aristocracy, they turn to the church and they say, hey, where were you when we needed you? Right? And so now we're going to have a new church and we're going to burn down the Virgin Mary and replace her with the goddess of reason and have a reign of terror. One is a godless rebellion of sinful people rebelling against other sinful people. Another is a revolution of people recognizing God is not a respecter of persons. I am accountable to the same God that the King of England is. And so in that revolution, you have the elites. The 56 men that signed that document, they are the elites we're railing against today. This is not Creedence Clearwater Revival's Fortunate Son, where the rich guys are sending the poor kids off to war. This war was going to be fought on their plantations. It was going to be their homes that were going to be burnt to the ground. So when they pledged their lives, fortunes, and sacred honors, they knew that they meant it. And most of them did pay that price, by the way. And what we had was class warfare in the French Revolution. And as a result, that was based on spite and vengefulness, and human instinct as opposed to something that was higher. It's the closest thing to a secular Ayn Rand libertarian that our founding fathers had, Thomas Paine. And so he goes to France to observe the French Revolution, and he's like, this is great. There's no God, and the people are doing whatever they want. We need to rethink our own revolution. So he comes back to the U.S., and he's going to write another book, another pamphlet about what he observed in France. And he goes to Benjamin Franklin way at the end of his life now. And he goes to Ben Franklin, he's thinking, Franklin's going to be with me. He's Mr. Lascivious. He's got baby mamas. He's got kids out of wedlock, right? He's going to be with me, right? We got to free humanity up from this whole God complex. And he gives it to Franklin to endorse, and Franklin reads it and says, do not ever publish this tripe. It's terrible. It'll be the ruin, the downfall of human civilization. Because Franklin might have been immoral and a sinner, but he wasn't a moron. There had to be a common authority that people held themselves accountable to. And that's what Adams meant by a constitution only for a moral and a religious people.